today we're talking botany, right? Everybody went to Michael's class and he did good, and he's got a PhD and he's got great vocabulary. Watched him from the time he got married till he had his first baby, and then he had his PhD, and then he had his second baby, and then he came here. So he's flipping awesome. Now, today I'm going to do bootstrap botany, okay? We're going to talk about the way plants grow from the bottom up. Did everybody get a handout? I got one of the handouts. So I'm going to be using it as reference. Yes, you did not? Okay. Who's my copy lady?
I'll go get it.
Okay. Two. Those ones. Well, you know what? Let's get a one at the end.
Okay.
Because I just need it basically so that I don't get lost in my conversation. Because I have, that's part 2.
Do you need one?
No. I'm gonna be good. I promise you that. So Aunt Martha gave me a plant, right? And it was awesome. And it bloomed. But she didn't know what kind of plant it was. So for 40 years, it was an Aunt Martha plant. Oh, and look, that one has a blue flower on it. So it must be, the blue flower plant, blue days, because it opens up during the daytime. And you go to another city, town, country, whatever, and look, here's a blue days. That's not the same blue days that I have. And that's the reason that you have nomenclature. The naming of the plants, taking it, okay, where's my signs? A wonderful lady donated $36,000 to a plant sign system. You're thinking, man, that's a lot of money. We have 186 acres here. It's a lot of money, but it takes a lot to get it going here. And so I worked several months on breaking down every garden that we had, putting it on an Excel spreadsheet. No, I'm not a computer person, but we did it. And then we had them printed up on metal. And people will come to me all the time saying, you don't have a sign on that. Well, somebody took it and put it in their purse or their back pocket. And I don't know why. Well, I don't know why, because it's an awesome freaking sign. Now, what does this sign tell us? Well, it tells us that JB Weld and rivets still don't work very well. It tells us the common name of the plant, the family that it's in, and it doesn't tell us the rest of it. But by knowing the scientific name of a plant, you have the key to that plant. You can find it anywhere in the world. You may go to different countries and see the same plants. A lot of these plants grow in Mexico. A lot of them grow in India. We don't have very many from the cold countries, not here, the cold countries. So that's why it's important to know and to learn the scientific names of the plants. It does not mean that you're learning this so that you can, but so that you can go, oh, well, that's Malvaviscus drummondii. And people look at you, but you need to also know that common name for that area so that you can communicate with other plant people. So that's my basic breakdown on the plant system. There's been 3 changes in the, I guess it's more than decades, it's like eons. Yeah, okay. One man came through, who was it? Lindheimer came through Texas with a mule and a cart, and he started at Louisiana, and he worked his way through the German towns down through New Mexico, down through Mexico and back up. And he documented and named a lot of the different plants in our area. He was German. And so he renamed many of our plants because when they started looking at it, it was closer to one family than it was another. And now that we have computers to even break it down more, we can look at the cells and figure out, oh, well, this is actually that. So bottom line of that story is I worked from 1978 to 1988, learning all the different names of the Latin and the names of the plants in this area. And then they changed them. What? How can you do that? It's like, I'm too old to learn all that stuff again because now it's set. So you need to keep up with that. As I was learning, as I was seeking out the information for the signs for our area, you know, for our garden so that we could make our sign system, I found the new names. And it really takes a lot of paying attention to see, oh, look, this was written in 1978. So let's find one that's closer to our, you know, decade. The sites that I found were the most helpful. You would think it would be California, but it's not, because there's a whole different, you know, edge of the United States, a whole different ocean. It's Florida. Florida, you can go to the Florida website and find almost as much information as we have at our university website, which our university website is tamu.edu/whatever you're looking for. /avocados, landscape design, raised bed gardening, drip irrigation, all of that's at your fingertips, on the computer, on your phone. Okay, I want to put in a drip irrigation system, but I was in the house and that's where the information is, and I'm out here now. What did it say? Well, if you have it on your phone, you can just pull that up there and say, okay, so I need to have my drippers 18 inches apart so that you get the best pressure on that hose that's a 1/4 inch wide so that you can get everybody watered all the way to the end. And that's cool. I have kicked and screamed through technology from the beginning. This is dumb, this is stupid. Well, stupid is as stupid does. So that's what they keep telling me. I embrace it now. It's the most awesome thing that I can just, you know, the internet lies. So you got to make sure that you get your edu or your org, your dot, you know, dot education or your dot organization so that you're getting real information. A lot of people are very enthusiastic. The Orchid Whisperer, Black Orchids Matter is a young man that I follow, and he is really, really good and telling you how to grow orchids. I hate orchids. I hate orchids. You know, but that's just me. I have to grow orchids because of my job. Orchids grow differently than other plants. Most plants have a soil structure. We're going to talk about why I have this dead plant up here now. Yeah. And that they don't grow in, most of them don't grow in soil. When we lost Sam, Sam was our orchid curator for our orchid house, and he was 93 when he passed. Yeah, 94. And we have volunteers. We have serious volunteers for the orchid house. They come on, I got one set that comes on Monday and Friday. There are 3 of them, and they work 6 solid hours just for free. they work better for free than most of my people work for paid. And so when he passed away, everybody wanted to be in charge. Nobody wanted to be responsible. It's like, oh no, I don't want to have to get on the phone and find where I can get new pads for the cooling system and make sure that they're the right size and the best price and all that. Nobody wanted to do that. So because I know a little bit about a lot of stuff, they asked me to be the coordinator. Oh, but I don't like orchids. So I was dumb. And I said that out loud at an orchid meeting. And so now I'm the proud owner of 37 orchids. Yeah, don't ever say you don't like, so I don't like roses. Man, you know, so don't ever say that. I don't like roses. I don't like bromeliads. And yes, I have, they got teeth. I don't like anything with teeth. So, but anyway, back, this is why I usually have a pad here to like pull me back. Being a curator for the orchid house is one thing. You really have to know about the structure, how they eat, how they drink, how they breathe. And then depending on your thought process, how they think. You know, there's all kinds of different studies about, do plants hear you? Do they respond to music? Do they respond to voice? Do they respond to your emotions? So I did not want to be the curator. I knew that for sure. I don't know enough about orchids. Well, now I know a lot about orchids because I have a curious mind. Curiosity is just something that just has spurred me through this whole thing, which is why y'all are here, right? To learn about plants and so forth. So I'm the coordinator, which means when all the panels fell out of the water wall, I walked in there one morning and they were all laying on the ground on top of all the orchids. Not all of them, but a lot of them. Okay, guess whose job that is? Mine. So that taught me more about orchids than I think even growing them would have. How do you get the greenhouse set up? What kind of humidity do you need for that? For, you know, orchids. How does that work? Most of them are terrestrial. Come on here, Beth, help me. Epiphytic. Yes. In that they will grow on something without taking something from it. All they're taking is support, basically. And if you walk out there, make sure that you walk out to the orchid house because it is beautiful. This has some bark in it, typically Pacific Northwest type bark, redwood and that kind of thing. But we've got a lot out there. Oh, I brought it. I don't have to just describe it. We have them that don't have any soil. And you're looking at that root system on there going, well, how does that grow? I'm sorry, Vocera scales on there. So how does that grow like that? Well, with a zip tie. After this is really well established on here, weight of the leaves, if I did, you know, tied it on there, the weight of the leaves would cause it to break off. And the roots wouldn't be strong. Well, if the roots would be holding it up and it would be facing, you could still hold on, it would be facing down. So they put the zip ties on there until there is a significant amount of root system to hold this baby up. And then once it is, then they will cut the zip ties because that's kind of funky. But if you notice, and I'll let y'all all come up here after this, the leaf on this one is desiccated, meaning that it's looks like it's lacking water. but it's really not. It is lacking light. Where they moved this one, it's not getting as much. They moved it into a sales area because it's for sale. We started selling some plants, and the light changed. So some of the older leaves here are starting to really lose their light, so they're not making the chlorophyll, so they're not making the whole food for the plant. And so it's from what I've learned from the orchid masters, when they are this green, that means they are it's either one way or the other. I'm trying to think of it. I think it's too much. Well, it started out, it was too much light. When they're really nice and, no, it's too little light. When they're really nice and green, there's too little light. And they look beautiful, right? They're nice and green and they're healthy. No, they're not. They need more light, and their leaves will turn kind of a yellowish color. And that is the proper color for that orchid. The way that Sam used to, to describe how an orchid grows is orchids hanging out on a tree in the rainforest, just laying in the crease of a tree. It's hanging out, it's got its roots on there, and it's holding on, and all of a sudden it starts raining. Well, some monkey poop starts coming down the tree, rolls onto the orchid, and goes on its way. Well, now the orchid is fertilized and it is watered. Now, orchid goes home with me. Like, oh my gosh, it's so beautiful. I want to take care of it. I want to love it. I want to love it till it dies. It doesn't need a lot of fertilizer. It does not need a lot of it. Well, it needs what it needs. And you've got to figure out, where did it come from and what was it getting there? What kind of light, what kind of fertilizer, and you give it to them. And sometimes it's successful and sometimes it's not. Yes, ma'am.
We got married this summer. And did,
Congratulations.
we did potted orchids. For
Yes.
the wedding. So now we are the proud owners of over 30 orchids.
Over
So this is
30
really
orchids. How are you doing?
We bought a few beforehand and tested them on our windowsills where we keep them. And,
Smart.
and they lived and died and rebloomed. So we think they're going to like it inside. We cleared the mini blinds and he built shelves for the windows.
Okay, let me ask you. The question is, 30 orchids, bought them from wherever. They're living indoors. Is there sunscreen on that window?
Yeah.
Then no, they're not going to be happy. And the
Oh,
reason,
no, sunscreen. I thought you meant like stream, like those
no,
black.
like on the window, like that treatment,
The tent.
the tent.
Yeah.
Yes, it does. Okay. The reason that it's not going to like it is because it needs, yeah, the type of light that you need, like the blues and the greens and the yellows. It needs that in order to make the, now, most likely what you got was what I call grocery store orchids. And that's the Phalaenopsis, which is also a butterfly orchid, which is also one of our Texas superstars because they grow so well here outside on a patio, in the sun, in the shade. They're really easy to grow if you don't love them to death. I didn't realize. So if I take one of those Phalaenopsis orchids and it's blooming and I go, oh man, I want it on my coffee table because I'm having a party tonight and I want everybody to see it. So I take it and I move it. Well, the telescopic portion of that plant is going to make it try to turn again to go to the light that it was getting before. In order to do that, it's going to take a lot of energy. So it's going to throw those flowers off and start again. So it's got to, get its whole body going in the right direction. We all know about that, trying to make sure the feet are going the same way as the head. So that's really good. Don't name your plants. Don't give a plant as a funeral gift, because once the plant dies, it's like the person died. Again, this is my morbid what does my friend call it? My gallows humor. It's hard because they go, oh, look at this beautiful, plant. And then all of a sudden it dies again and it's a real heartache. Don't name your plants because when they die, you're going to go, oh, Johnny. It's like, no, that wasn't Johnny. That was just a phalaenopsis. And we're going to get another one, just like the other one. And they're cheap. Well, for me, $40 is not bad for a beautiful exotic orchid. You can get them for less than that, but I tend to buy what I want. Now this one, Meltonia, I'm gonna get it. Oh, no, doesn't have a freaking label on there. George is gonna be not happy with me. I picked the only one out there without a label on it.
I knew it 8 years ago.
Right. Well, so this one's doing great. You see how yellowish the leaves are? Now it has dried out because it's got some brown on the ends. Leaves don't change if they've got a brown leaf on there or a brown spot on there, there's nothing you're going to do to change that spot. It's always going to be a spot. But leave the ugly leaves on there. Why would you do that? Because they're still making energy. Palm fronds, don't cut off all your brown and yellow palm fronds because they are still making energy for that plant. Yeah, they look kind of ugly, but so do I sometimes. I'm not always beautiful like this. So. Be kind to your plants. Now this one is on this piece of wood here, and it's got this moss. Well, the moss is really, really dry. Well, probably because it sat in the back of my truck last night, but we go through every 2 to 3 days with a mister on the end of a water hose that is hooked to a fertilizer system in the corner that sends fertilizer through the hose to the plant. So that means it's getting weekly fertilizer weekly. I think that's how they say it. It's like 1/8 of a teaspoon of the water soluble fertilizer, and you spray it on there and you get that bark moist and the root system moist, and that's the fertilizer that it's getting. It doesn't have any soil, doesn't have any bark. Well, it does have bark, but it's not, that kind of bark. So that's kind of my spiel on orchids. When you go into the orchid house, do not run your hands through the root systems that are hanging down because it just looks so cool. You just want to go through there and just tickle the root. No, on the bottom on the end of the root, and I'll see if I can show this to the camera too, because that light's bright. Can y'all see the little brown tips on there?
Yes.
Okay, that's a growing, healthy tip. When my hands with my body oils, my natural body oil, rub on that, it seals the cells and causes that root system to die because, it's got oil on there. It didn't want oil on it. It just wants water and fertilizer. This is a Vanda, V-A-N-D-A, like victory, Vanda. These are awesome. I had a man come and he said, I go to the New York Botanic Garden show every year, and they have Vandas and they have guards standing on each side of them because they are so difficult to grow, so hard to get. And y'all just have them hanging out here in the greenhouse like anybody could come and get them. Well, not really. We have cameras everywhere, so please don't take our. But he was amazed. Yeah, we have cameras everywhere. So, but he was amazed that they grew so easily here with no real, they do take care, but not a stringent program of making sure they get everything. The temperature is the big deal for these. I said, well, we almost are the rainforest here. We're arid. And so as long as we give them the moisture that they need throughout the day, and throughout the week, then they're happy. Happy, I say. And there's a lot of them in there. So that's me and the orchid story. When I don't have to work here anymore, but you know, it's such a struggle, I will not grow orchids anymore. They will be gifted to someone else. They will be gifted. So this is gonna be all over the place, so I'm sorry if y'all's brains break at the end. My son's like, Mom, you broke my brain. So, yeah. So back to the Aunt Martha plant. You need to know what it is. Has anybody used the iNaturalist app? That's way cool. You take a picture of the plant or bug or whatever it is, you send it to that website, and everybody's like, oh, I know what that is. And you may get 5 or 6 different answers, but then you can go and Google it yourself and figure out what it is. So iNaturalist. And you know who told me about it? A little 7-year-old boy. I know, he comes in all the time. May I find some bugs here, please? Yes, you may. Will you show me which one you get on the way out? Oh, yes, I would never take your bugs without, you know. But I want to know what he's finding so that, you know, if there's a problem, if there's an issue, and he comes in with this, he looks like, oh, who was the Aussie guy that went out and animals and so forth? Who? Steve Irwin. Yeah, he's a little Steve Irwin. He's got, you know, he wears this little vest with all the pockets in there and everything. And then he comes up and he talks to me and he shows me all the different bugs and so forth. That. And I said, how did you find that? And he said, the iNaturalist app. Wow, that's way awesome. So I have that on there. So if I can't figure it out, then I will go to him or the app. He's so sweet. Okay, so back to Aunt Martha. I hate that plant. I've had it for 40 years. And somebody walks into my house and says, oh, that's such a beautiful plant. I gift it to them. It's like, you don't just need this. Yeah, you do. You need to take this home with you. But in 40 years, did I know what that plant was? No, I could never find a name for that. And so it's not absolute, it's not, you know, a life-threatening thing to know, well, kind of could be, to know that type of plant that you have. But if you want to share with other people, or you want to be a knowledgeable person, you just want to be a knowledgeable person, and that's what you need to do. This one's going to be crazy. Okay, we're going to skip right over here. I have a bowl of poop. Imagine that. I have a, oh my gosh, and I also have maggots. That's okay. Maggots are larvae. Just didn't expect them to hatch out that quickly. This is, where's the leaf off of it? I ran around grabbing all kinds. Okay, this is out of my arid garden. We're going to take this outside real quick. This is out of my arid garden. It doesn't. This is actually a bromeliad, and it grows out in my arid garden. Looks like a cactus, right? Looks like a cactus, but where is my? It's in the bromeliad family. It's a Dicea bromeliad, Dicea speciosa bromeliaceae pineapple. It's in the pineapple family. A lot of people don't know that pineapples are bromeliads. And this seed pod is about 18 feet long. Seriously. Do you hear the seed? Yep. So y'all can come grab all these seeds after it's over. It's like, anyway, so if you see the seeds in here, they're a pretty nice size. Little black things. And I'm going to walk this around so y'all can look at it, and then I'll deposit it out the door so y'all don't have to look at the poop too much. Okay, so this is the javelina food. Do you see the amount of seeds in there?
Yeah.
I mean, it's mainly just seeds. I know, I'm that weird person. What did y'all learn today? All about javelina food. Okay, see those seeds there, and then those seeds right there. Different one. Now, these are gonna hatch out better. You're okay. Because they have gone through the digestive system of an animal, and the acids in their stomachs are gonna scarify the seeds. I know, right? And cause them to sprout, kind of like birds. When birds eat seeds and they put them out along your fence line, and you're wondering where all those trees came from, there it is. I know it's weird. Oh, that's cool. You haven't met me. Oh, okay, good. Yay, we're all there. See, that's a different type of seed there. I'm thinking that is from the, I'll think of it in just a minute. Everybody got to see the food? Okay. Hang on, let me throw it outside. Just because I'm not sure where the worms are gonna end up. And fertilizer. Okay, so. So we talked about circle of life, yeah? Yeah. Well, life on that particular scenario has helped to bring that cycle forward. What is it? Pride of Barbados. Caesalpinia? Pride of Barbados, Caesalpinia. I don't know that I have a flower for it, but it's that big, pretty orange one that I've got at the front gate there. That biggest seed that you saw in the poop, that was the seed from that particular plant. And I went out to y'all's earth time beds and I got the original seed. The original seed pod. So you see how you've got, okay, the seeds are in a pea form, like a English pea kind of a thing. And then it gets brown. And then when it opens up, it twirls like a pinwheel. It twirls like a pinwheel, so then when it opens, boom, it shoots them all over the place. And here comes the javelina, eats it, pokes it out, boom, there you go. I got a Pride of Barbados right in the middle of my sidewalk out in my herb garden. Yay! But that's just a way, that to me, that's just so freaking interesting to see that. My grandfather walked me through the woods of East Texas. They had 200 acres to look at all these things. They have sassafras tree there. And so we would go along, he'd pull his pocket knife out and cut some of the roots off, and we'd go in, we'd boil it and make hot tea out of it in the wintertime, and it was delicious. So I learned a lot of that way, and y'all are welcome to whatever's left over at the end of this, cuttings, seeds. Now, let's talk about the leaf pattern on this. You see that leaf pattern? Help me with this, y'all. What is that called, Beth? I know it's sensitive. When you touch it.
Well, it's a kind of pinnate, but what kind of pinnate is it, guys? Don't.
Do y'all know what kind of, is it alternate? No?
They gave us it.
Well, I got it too, and I don't have it, so y'all didn't, that's like a pass-fail thing, so.
Is it a single pinnate? No, it's not.
Because it's like, now palmate is,
Well, you got 1, 2, and 3.
This
and
one.
And what's the?
palmate is the alamo tree.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah.
Did everybody get to see the Pride of Barbados one?
Yes, yes. And so this is a palmate. Yeah, see, it's like the palm of your hand. And this is a alamo tree, sycamore. I love sycamore trees. They have that exfoliating bark where the bark starts to peel off. And when I was little, we would always take a pen out there. My grandpa always had a pen and a pencil, and we would peel that off of there, and we would write on the back of that piece of wood and leave it there for whoever comes along. We had a lot of fun stuff to do. Yeah. Did anybody ever come? I don't know. But was it a fun and exciting adventure for a young child?
Yes.
You betcha. So out in our, everything here is from our gardens. I was here till 8:30 last night with my new blade, just cutting stuff down, going, oh, this will be good, this will be good. So,
May I ask you a question?
yes,
They say the Pride of Barbados is the Mexican Pride of Barbados, and there's a different. Pride
there
of
are,
Barbados?
okay, Pride of Barbados is that specific Caesalpinia pulcherrima. Then there are other Caesalpinias. There's the yellow one, there's one that's just solid orange. The flamboyant was at one time a Caesalpinia, but now it's something else, and I can't. Bucea. Anyway, I don't want to lie on that one. But so yes, there are a lot of different varieties, and I feel very fortunate to be and blessed to have this job, because people were devastated after this freeze. How many of you had your hearts hurt from losing the plants that you lost? And so Beth back there, that's me. Didn't bother me none. It did, because I've been through a lot of freezes, and I tend to love tropical plants. Well, because we're arid in this area, we are tropical, but then all of a sudden we got big dog freeze that boom. Who would have thought it would have lasted that long? And the soil was not wet before we went into this. So if the soil had been not just you watering, but the whole area had been more moist from rains, we would not have lost quite so much. But people were calling me, what do you think? What do you think? Is it dead? Is it dead? And I said, wait. You just need to wait. I don't care how ugly it looks in your yard. If you want it to live, you need to leave it alone. Palm trees, Caesalpinias, Pride of Barbados, even our fiddle leaf fig on the backside of our gift shop is starting to come back. There's a map that you can follow. It's called the USDA soil temp map. Put it on your bookmarks on your computer, and you can watch the soil temperature coming up from Mexico, warming up, and needs to hit 65 degrees before our tropicals are happy. We lost our entire grove of plumerias here. And if anybody's ever seen our plumeria grove, it was magnificent. Now, plumeria people, they're crazy because they're gardeners. They got online, they ordered us plants from Florida, from Hawaii, from everywhere. And so now we've got a young grove, and it's coming back beautifully. But all those stumps, yeah, they're coming back from the bottom. They're starting to come back up. So because we're botanical gardens, we can't really wait that long. We've got to look good all the time. We get people that come here from all over the world going, this is it? Yes, nature center. Botanical Gardens and Nature Center. So it was a wait thing. And that's what y'all are going to do here, is y'all are going to learn about decades of other people's gardening so that you can make right choices, and so that you can guide other people on how to make choices for their own gardens. I believe that's one of y'all's goals, right, is to educate the public?
Yes.
Yes?
Yes.
Okay, well, that way, if you know and you learn, then you may educate that way. This is a weed. Oh my gosh, it's a weed, it's a weed. I hate this thing.
Possum ivy.
Huh?
Possum ivy?
Possum ivy. You know the botanical name for it? I don't either. Uh,
No, but the naturalists have a value for it.
It does. It has a great value. The possums, the raccoons, these berries on here, it's a grape. Possum grape is what most people call it. It's real sticky, but it climbs over your trees and suffocates bushes and things like that. And when you think you've dug up, you pulled up that main root, well, it goes like 20, 30 foot. So you got to keep up. And the reason that it's a weed to me is it's a plant that's growing in a place that I don't want it to grow. In Costa Rica, crotons are a weed. Oh yeah, they grow like 12, 15, 18 foot tall. They come up in their beds where they've got this nice hedgerow that's all beautifully pruned and, you know, looks great. They made them into donkeys or whatever. And all of a sudden, pop out of the middle of it comes a big, ugly old croton. Oh my gosh, an ugly croton, they're gorgeous because they don't grow like that here. So a weed is only a plant growing in an area that you don't want it to grow. That's basically it. I don't want this to grow over the top of my jatropas. So, now, we've got more. I just wanted to make sure that I had enough of this to show everyone. Let's talk root systems a little bit. This is Chili Paquin. Patin. Okay. The one is round and one is long. So, and I'm not sure which one it is. You can't really see that, can you? Well, you can see the roots, which is what we're going to kind of talk about on that. This one is a taproot because it goes straight down in there and pass it around. Now, if you touch the peppers, do not touch your eyes. The capsaicin in there will just blind you for the day. Run. I'm sorry, what was the
What's
question?
the secret of doing the Chili Paquin? I tried to go.
Well, you gotta have a mockingbird. And that mockingbird eats that seed and goes along the side of your, wherever you don't want it, poops it out, and boom, you've got Chili Paquin. Big, beautiful ones. Now, you can also buy seedlings from the garden centers and plant them that way. But think about how this started. A bird pooped it out and it grew. Not without you watering it, without you hovering over it, without you babying it or anything. But the main thing on these is let them dry between waterings. And I would say go poop on them, but that's probably not the thing you want to do. You can get bagged manures. My favorite manure, my favorite fertilizer is blood meal. You got it? He's trying to get it on there. Oh, good. If you get it closer, you can see the color. Yes, ma'am.
Chicken manure is probably one of the best things there is.
Yes. All manures work a little bit differently, but they're all good. The reason I like blood meal is it is a natural nitrogen and it repels animals. Out here we have, so I'm Farmer McGregor, those rascally rabbits. They watch me plant and they figure out, what's she planting for me today? Is this going to be the salad bar? Petunias, mow those to the ground. Portulaca, y'all know portulaca, moss rose, real pretty. Well, we're trying to cover our topiary out there, our butterfly topiary, and they decided while I was gone to set the plants closer to the topiary so that they could plant them the next day. Well, they come in the next day and they're mowed to the ground. Don't know who ate it, but it could have been rabbit, it could have been javelina, it could have been. And the girl that does it, she's like, I forgot to put the blood meal down. We get bags of blood meal and we do it as an unbroken line around whatever plant we want to not get eaten. And once you water it, it goes into the soil and it fertilizes it. But it also, I guess they think it's a slaughter or something. They're like, well, we don't want to go over there. So that's one of my favorite, nitrogen fertilizer. I have a video, I sent it to my son and he's like, Mom, that's just creepy. There's a rabbit and I named him Bernard and he got a little chink out of his ear. And I have a whole video where I'm talking to him. He's sitting there flicking his ear at me and said, hello, Bernard. How are you today? What are you gonna eat? He looks at me like, whatever you find. Not this time, little buddy, not this time. I got blood meal. Like, he runs the other way. So that is a taproot. Here is another invasive weed. There's not a whole lot of order to this, so.
Can you buy the blood meal, just blood meal fertilizer?
Yeah, you can go, sometimes I think they sell it at the box stores. But you can definitely get it at some of your local, home-owned.
Is it granules or liquid?
It's granules. Okay, so the way that I use blood meal here is if you try to just do it out of the bag, it's gonna fly everywhere. And you're gonna be snorting, blood meal for hours. I get those ketchup bottles from the dollar store and fill it up inside, in your garage or whatever, so it doesn't fly everywhere. And put it in there, cut the hole a little bit bigger so that you can get close to the ground and push, 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 like so. Here it is. Trying to get to it, but there's a lot of stickers in here. Everything got a sticker on it. Okay. So this is an invasive species of cannas. What? Does anybody know this plant? Yeah, I gave a bunch of them away. I'll let you hold it. Well, no, we'll do it first. Okay, so this is the root system here. It is a rhizome, not a bulb, because it runs this way, and a rhizome is a root that runs along and shoots up. Bulbs are singular bulbs like an onion, and then they'll make a new bulb and a new bulb and a new bulb. So here we are, we got this root system, we got the rhizome, we got another silly little lovely baby right there. And then it comes up. And then it's got the seed pods. Get the big seed pods. So it is all about procreating. I'm telling you what, this thing knows how to live. And see the cute little bally things on there? Aren't those beautiful? And then they turn brown and they open up and boom, they shoot. Can you
They're real hard seeds. They have a real hard seed coat.
They have a real hard seed coat. Yes.
I used to think they were native to Brazil because the Brazilian sticker butterfly feeds on them.
Yeah.
But I did some research. There are some native to Central America, but there is a species native to the Carolinas as well. It's just that we hybridize them for gardens.
Okay, so she's saying that they're originally from Brazil?
No. There are some from Central America.
Central America.
And there is a species native to the Carolinas.
Okay, and a species native to the Carolinas. Okay, I question that. And the reason that I question that is I just don't see that happening there. I see somebody coming over in the Mayflower or somewhere along that way and having their workers, however they got them, bring this along with them. And now all of a sudden it's in North Carolina. So I think they're naturalized. You know what I'm saying? Like they weren't originally here, but they've been here long enough that they're native now.
I'm just going on.
You gonna go on that?
USDA plants.
Boom, USDA plant, United States Department of Agriculture. Now, this is Beth's, one of Beth's favorites. This is Trinum lily. And it's one of the pass along plants, like your grandmother had it, and she passes it along to her, to the neighbor. This one is pink, and I didn't get the bulb because the bulbs are like that. I didn't have a shovel, and I'm not supposed to use the shovel because of my bad knees, but it has a bulb like that on there. And then it comes up and it makes a seed pod. That one's getting kind of yellow there. I'm gonna pop that off there and open it up. There you go. Let's see what that has inside of there. Ah, there we go. Yeah, I like that. I got a Schrade 3-blade machete for my Christmas present 2 years ago. My son gave it to me. And I loaned it to somebody here to go out, and I just looked, I pulled it out to use it, and there were dents in it. Like they hit concrete or something. Now, David, who also works here, he was really good, and he ground it out and fixed it up, but I was heartbroken over that. My blades are important to me. Now, this one is not nearly ready because it needs to, all those little seeds that are in there need to mature, and then it opens up into like a brown seed pod, and then they fall to the ground and they come up everywhere. I think that one's almost brown there. But this shows you how it's not ready. But if you look close in there, you can see the seed starting to develop. So, taproot, rhizome, and bulb. So, I don't think I brought a palm in here. Is a palm a tree?
No.
Yes.
Yay! It's a monocot. Means it comes up with a single and opens up, and then the dicot comes up like the peppers would, where it comes up and you got the two little seeds on there. Oh, you know what? I don't know which ones, but
You
some
said
of
dicot for palms? I thought they were monocot.
yes, monocots. The palms are monocots. Dicots are the 2 seed. This particular one here is Jacob's thorn, huh? It's not Weisach. It looks a lot like Weisach, but it is Parkinsonia reticulata. Oh, Jacob's thorn is what we always call it as a common. But when this is beautiful. When it rains or you water over the leaves, which you're never supposed to water over the leaves, but unless you want to see something really pretty, every one of these little seeds on these little leaves on here holds a water droplet. If you are a photographer, it is the most beautiful thing you've ever seen. Now, it has thorns on thorns. It is probably the most vicious tree you will ever have. Why do plants have thorns here?
To survive.
What are they surviving from?
From anything that can eat it, break it, and so forth.
Anything that can eat it, break it, consume it of some kind. Yeah, so it does not want me to go out there and dig this up because it's in my front yard. My husband hits it every time and has to go to the hospital for the eye. Beautiful. The leaves are closed right now, but it's gorgeous. And it is an invasive, but it's not an extremely aggressive invasive. The seed pod on there is 2 seeds. That's it, just 2 seeds. Another seed pod on there. Probably dropped it. But look at the leaf set on there. I don't even know how to call that one.
Would it be compound? Compound.
So compound something. Here you go. If you put that on the, can you do that? Watch, because it has stickers. Okay. Yeah, it's, here we go.
I knew I had one.
That's the seed pod part. Okay,
Would you want that growing in your landscape? I mean, your.
Yes.
In garden,
absolutely.
just for looks or for?
Probably don't want to
Absolutely.
have it
Well,
there.
it is drought tolerant.
They're all up and down. the
It's fast
stem.
growing. It's beautiful. I mean, absolutely beautiful. I would not put it near a pathway. And the way that you think about trees is the faster they grow, the faster they fall. The slower they grow, the slower they fall. Yes, ma'am.
Why did you choose that over a common?
Okay, why would I choose that over Retama? Several reasons. That's more beautiful, I think, but also, y'all know what a twig girdler is? You need to look that one up. That was weird, weird, weird. She goes along, she lays her eggs on the end of the stem. And you can see it, it looks like somebody took a little knife and went snip, 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 snip. And then she comes along and then she girdles that stem. The branch falls to the ground, then her eggs hatch out and make more girdlers. If you walk down our trail, our butterfly trail back there, it has a name and I can't think of it right now. You can see all the ratamas there. And I got videos of the twig girdler making her way around a stem.
Is it a bug or?
Yeah, it's a beetle.
Beetle.
Yeah, it's a beetle.
The Master Naturalists call it nature's pruning.
Nature's pruning.
It makes the tree look a little off center, but it never actually kills the tree.
Now, I like Retama, but this one is more pretty. It's prettier because of the yellow flowers on there and the laciness of the leaves. And so I think it's basically just a personal preference, but it is a fast growing tree, just like your Retama. And so in a hard wind, branches break off, trees fall over. So I would probably put it in a little more protected, but it doesn't take a lot of water.
You said it doesn't need water, but the common needs a lot of water.
Correct, correct.
What's the name of that one?
Parkinsonia, look up Jacob's thorn.
Okay, Jacob Thorne. I can
Uh-huh.
look it up.
But I like the leaves of the common.
Well, that's true too. And I don't know if those are edible or not, not like a lot of them, so. Now, as far as root system, this is one of the ones I really want to point out. This is our tomato. Should have seen the young man helping me pull all this out of my trunk this morning. He's like, are you sure this is good? He's not a plant person. This is a tomato plant. And it has an advantageous root system. It takes advantage of the ability to root up and down the stem. So you know how Dale Nelson always plants his tomato and shows you that you can plant it deep? Well, that's because it will make roots all up and down it.
Can you cut the stems or propagate it that way? Just-
No, I don't know.
We have.
Yes, you can.
Yes, you can. Okay. Now, how does that work? If you take an asexual propagation technique, which means you take a stem or a leaf off of another plant, then you're going to typically get that same kind of plant. If you plant a seed, then unless it is a documented, this is what it's going to be, you never know what you're going to get. It could be a different color, but asexual propagation is verified. That's what you're going to get. Well,
So you're saying when a fruit pollinates, that seed could be pollinated by different pollen that could cause it to come up with something else? Or is that-
it's like, what is the five-fingered, what is the five-fingered papaya? papaya, right? Has the 5 fingers. And it grows up, big, nice, thick stem. And you take, oh, I'm gonna get the seeds from that because it tastes delicious. And you start them, and I'm not gonna get these words correct on there, but most of them will be male. And so you're not gonna get fruit off of it. Some of them have the ability to change their sex. So, oh, look, they're male. No, they're not, they're female. Oh, look, they're both. So that's one of those weird, I didn't know, you know, who I talked to about it was Ted Turner Sr. And he showed me how he took a male and made it into a female. But I don't remember that. And that's not what I want to do. I mean, that's not my passion. My passion actually is bootstrap botany, you know, to talk to people about this stuff and help them learn, know what, you know, get the information that I've had through my adventures and help people along, because you can stand there and talk plants all day long and go out into the garden and try to grow them and be not successful at all. You're following all the guidelines and for some reason it's not working for you. And if you're standing next to somebody that's been doing it for, you know, 100 years and they say, oh, well, you should have flipped the switch on, you know, that kind of thing. I appreciate that as much as I do, because I love to read, I love to learn, but I want to also be out in the dirt, in the sun, going at it. Let's see. This is another rhizome, flax lily, adiendum. So anyway, that I just wanted to show y'all that so that you could see. I wanted to show y'all several examples of.
That's a ground cover.
Yeah, it grows like a grass. Comes up real pretty. Now, how do you say it? Hoof of the cow in Spanish? Okay. I have 3 different varieties here. Let's see if I can find them all. Let's try this. This one, and I don't know the names of them right now, but I've got signs for them. Okay, this one is the that's one that's the native and it has the white on it.
Cottonwood?
Sorry?
Cottonwood?
No, it's not cottonwood. I'll think of it in a minute here. This one is out of Mexico. Very difficult to get. The flowers are gorgeous. Beth, what's the botanical name for orchid tree? Bocarnia? No, that's ponytail.
Oh, gosh.
Okay, we'll come up with it in a minute. Here we go. Oh, and then you'll get 10 points. Or what? I don't know. But
And like Rosemary has one in her front yard and
Yeah. this one is beautiful. Holy moly. It has a flower like a spider. And butterflies love it. Hummingbirds love it. When I first came to the garden, I said, y'all do know that that's a big old hackberry growing right in the middle of that tree, right? No. So I started digging. That was 10 years ago when I used to be able to dig. And I was digging that hackberry out. It had a trunk on it that big around. And somebody really smart came along and said, well, why don't you just put stump killer on it? Okay. Bohemia, that's it. Bohemia congesta is the Mexican orchid one.
It's an orchid tree.
Right.
And it's a bohemian.
And this one is, there's one Bohemia blancanea. And then this one is a native to us. I'll pass that around. Look at how their little leaves look like.
the Mexican is Anacocha.
Anacocha, okay, that's that one there then. And look at how the leaves
So you
are.
got stump killer?
I use the stump killer on the, and I don't like to use chemicals. I really don't. But sometimes in the right situation and done well, it's very effective. So in order to not damage this difficult tree to grow that we really wanted, but yet to kill out the invasive that had grown up in the middle of there, I did. Now, I had already dug down far enough and cut the stump down far enough to where after I killed it, I filled up the hole. And yeah, so it doesn't look bad at all now. But that one makes good seeds and it makes the plant come around it. But I've not been successful in digging and propagating it through.
This plant right here, is it a, no, this one
Yes,
right here?
yes.
Is it a shrub or is
It's
it
a tree, like 18 foot by
Oh,
18 foot.
okay.
Mhm. And I
And
have
the
a-
Mexican orchid tree is a huge, attractant for butterflies. They like
Yes.
the nectar.
Oh my gosh, yes, they are.
You
You brought more
you
people.
can put other butterfly plants around it and they won't go to that, they'll go to this one.
Now, remember when we were talking about seeds and coming true and so forth? When how, oh, well, your tomato makes seeds and you can just get that and grow a new plant with it. Well, if it is a special variety, like this is from a celebrity, the likelihood that those are going to germinate is not real good.
How
And if
come?
it does germinate, then it's likely not going to be a celebrity. Yes,
Why
sir.
do seeds not germinate?
They are irradiated.
Yeah, it should be
Yeah,
all the food.
all the food people. Well, when they come from other countries.
Yeah.
And you think, oh, that's an awful thing. And, you know, I get people come in and say, oh, I brought this in from other country and I snuck it in and they didn't catch it. And you're like, oh, okay, well, let's see, that's how we got the sweet potato whitefly out of, you know, and now that's how we got the longhorn beetle that devastated the southern forest in southeast Texas. And so I see, you know, I am that gardener. On my keychain that I carry, I have a blade with scissors in there. So I get it. I understand wanting to have cool plants, but I also have seen the huge benefit in not bringing in invasives. So, you know, 6 of one, half dozen of another. Is it important? Yes. Our citrus industry, the whitefly, which whitefly is that one? I can't think of the name of it. Citrus greening. It is called citrus
Yeah,
greening.
Asian citrus.
It's not a whitefly, it's a cilia. And it came in and has moved through the Texas citrus and Florida citrus trees and has devastated that industry. So when you have to pay $5 for an orange, then you know why, because somebody thought, oh, this is cool, and brought it in. But all of these seeds right here are from a celebrity tomato. So if anybody wanted to try to see that and in bringing me the tomatoes, so I can tell you if it's a celebrity, because that's one of my favorite tomatoes because it is determinate. It grows to a determined size, stops, makes all its tomatoes within about a 2-week period, and then it's done. You may see it start to sprout out again on the branches and so forth, but it was designed to make a ton of beautiful tomatoes that are just delicious and real easy to grow and then be done.
There's a GMO.
Yes,
Okay.
yes, GMO, genetically modified, which, okay, so there's that thing again. Is that a bad thing? Is it a good thing? Do you want heirloom seeds? Yeah, you want heirloom seeds. Well, what happens when, you know, you get the diseases and the rots and the, you know, so forth, because they don't have any, I'm sorry, that just brought me back to the whole vaccine thing. And I'm gonna try real hard, stay away from that. Anyway, so you've got the genetically modified, which makes your tomato every stinking time is beautiful. The plant is like hardy and easy to grow. And then you've got the old timey heirloom ones that make delicious fruit on there. but they are more susceptible to other things within the area. So that's that.
But the natural selection has been stopped.
Huh?
Natural selection, then we're controlling natural selection.
Well, we're not gonna go into natural selection right now, because my mother taught me not to talk politics, religion, or sex. So I think we're good. We're okay. I mean, I know there's a lot of sex going on in the plant section, but we're gonna keep it PG. So I brought the staghorn fern here somewhere with my sign to show you that it's in the fern family. Ah, here you are. And yeah, way cool. We had them this big and bald hanging from the tree out there, and they broke the oak tree branch. They were so heavy. Yes, ma'am?
I just want to make one more comment about crops.
About what?
I just watched the documentary about stuff after the ice age.
After the ice age.
And 10,000 years ago, our ancestors changed wheat and barley to have triple the seed size and to eliminate the trait that they will drop their seeds as discouraged. So we've been changing crops for over 10,000 years.
Whether that's a good thing or a bad thing, I don't know. Okay,
And
so
that's what
this.
they're right.
This is my staghorn fern in the fern family. This is the pad that it grows from. Oh, way cool. It's this big old giant thing. And see, it's making a new pad here coming out from the bottom there. And then there's another pad coming on. But what I really was excited about, there you go, you pass that around. And
Is
yes,
that attached to a tree? Is that
to a ball.
to a ball?
Yeah, somebody put it in, they put potting mix in a basket, hanging basket, and they stuck this on the top there, probably took fishing line and wrapped it around it to hold it up. And then it makes pads, till it covers that whole basket.
Wow.
Now these are the spores. These are the spores. Oh, I've been in the gardening industry for 40 some odd years. And people come, oh my gosh, it's dying. Look, its leaves are all brown. I'm like, nope, that's gonna be babies. That's gonna make babies.
Yeah.
Now, is it fast?
Show me separation.
Got it? Okay, so I'll let you pass that around. So the spores, like any spore, flies in the wind, drops down to whatever surface that it's happy in, sprouts out. How long does it take for a fern spore to sprout? A long time. I don't know the exact dates, the exact amount, but I wanted to.
Any other species, 1 month to a year.
A year. That's the one of the pads off of that.
And then it has to have sex with itself.
Yes, right. That's where that sex falls in there. So I gave some master gardener friends of mine seeds to the pipe vine, filamentosa. Let's see, and an acro. Why is my brain just Aristolochia filamentosa? That's it. It's a pipe vine that's very small flowered, mostly a ground cover, but I gave him the seed because his wife just loves to go see him. So 8 months later, he's calling me going, Carol, I said, send me pictures. It's not growing, it's not sprouting. And I said, leave it alone. He said it could take up to 1.5 years for the seeds to sprout. And a month and a half later, he called, and Randy Snyder, and he called and said, I don't know if it's the plant or if it's a weed. So he sent me a picture and I looked at it. It's like, oh, that's the plant. Yay. They don't transplant very easily, but seeds don't just, 3 to 5 days. When you look at your seed packets, whatever package you have, and look on the back of there, it tells you how long it takes to germinate, how long it takes to sprout, how long it takes to harvest. And you need to take all that into consideration, because like radishes, 30 days. Cilantro, 30 days. So you keep planting them. Onions, 160 days, something like that. Potatoes, kind of the same thing. So be aware that just because it didn't come up tomorrow doesn't mean. Now this is a,
Tag it, so you remember you planted something there.
I know, right? Use tags. Make sure, get you those knives, you know, that you get in the plastic sets that you don't ever use, little knives because they're worthless. You can write on those with a Sharpie and they work real well for planting. Yeah, and you got to keep the cats out of it. Let's not talk cats. My husband's a cat person. Okay, so this is root beer plant. I'm gonna think of the name of it in just a minute.
Also, it's yerba mate.
Yerba, no, yerba is mint. Hoya Santa, Hoja.
Oh,
Yeah, Hoya Santa. Oha. Oh, see, I'm gonna get this right here pretty soon. My son is beautiful. He's 6'5" and he's my baby. But he has a talent for languages. And so he took 5 years of German, he took 3 years of French. He never took Spanish. I'm around enough people that I think I can at least hear Spanish and, you know, maybe not speak it. Okay, does a little Japanese, does a little Russian, and he's learning some African dialects. He works for USAA and talks to people from all over his teams. His teams are like in India and Mexico. And so they get on Zoom or however they do that. And he leads them through this. Anyway, this is common name root beer plant. You can take the leaves and wrap chicken or fish and put it on your barbecue pit and it will give that nice rich. But this is the seed pod and I don't know. Here, I'll give that to you first. I don't know what it's called. I mean, it's
Also recipes to make desserts with it.
also making desserts with them, but I don't know what the term for that seed is. Do you see it right here? And it's really little. I mean, probably 2 inches, inch and a half, 2 inches, right there. It has a, aha, ta-da, my other orchid tree. I knew I had 3 of them.
That's the Chinese orchid.
Yes, it is.
How, whatever.
Right. So I don't know what had a pistil, P-I-S-T-O-U-L is kind of the where I'm thinking on that seed variation. Okay, this one has cool too, so I'll pass it over to that. See the little seeds hanging down.
It reminds me of the phase of an Arab lily.
Yes, an arum lily. How it has that pistil that sticks up and like on a spathiphyllum, the closet plant.
Yeah, they call it fade.
So after this is over, in case y'all have allergic reactions, make sure to use the alcohol and take a good Benadryl when you get home. Because I know I have spread a lot of stuff.
Root beer plant, it is edible, but you can overdose easily. So if you do acquire one, be very careful how you use it and do some research.
Right. If you get a root beer plant and you're going to use it for food, make sure that you know what you're doing. There are a lot of recipe books out there. There's a Hispanic descent, native Texan, Houston, Huston, and she has written some beautiful Tex-Mex recipe books for the area. And so make sure you know what you're doing so that you don't overdose. Well, it's like sarsaparilla,
Yeah, that one too.
sarsaparilla, which is, like I said earlier,
That one's carcinogenic.
they say it's carcinogenic. Okay, it is carcinogenic. So I think it falls under that, a little bit of arsenic on a daily basis. You'll get used to it and so won't die.
Black pepper is carcinogenic if you fry it too much.
So
So, you know, what are you gonna do?
Remember that statement if I ever offer you food. So I'm not the cook. Come on, what's this pepper? Habanero. Hot. I don't like hot, but
Or the Trinidad scorpion.
I don't think it's a Trinidad scorpion. I've had,
Try that Trinidad scorpion.
I know, I don't even like jalapenos, you know. I'll do a good serrano. I love bells, but yeah, cayenne, I can do some cayenne, either powdered or, but something about the oils, the capsaicin in jalapenos bothers me, like my stomach a lot. Whereas I can, eat cayenne, which is a really hot pepper, but the capsaicin oil in there does not affect me the same. So, what?
There's 3 species. I thought they know what
Cayennes,
the Cayennes, the South American species,
okay.
the habaneros, the Chinensis. I'm surprised about the habaneros, but that's so local, it's not percentage of the piece.
Now, I do like chili piquins also because I put them in vinegar and I use them on green. So like whenever I flash fry some spinach or Sprite Light Swiss chard, I'll sprinkle a little bit, or on a salad. It's really good. So you put them in there, fill it with vinegar, and then you put a little bit of salt to kind of get it to break down, put it in your refrigerator, splash it on. It works really great. Okay, so this one looks like the peppers should be ready, but they're not. They're still white. So will this continue to ripen when it's disconnected from the plant? Can I take this yellow, stick it on my cardboard box in the wash machine area and let it make? No. You gotta wait till it turns brown. It's like citrus. If you take orange off the tree and it is not ripe, it will not continue to ripen. Now, tomatoes, as a fruit also, if you take those off at green starting to turn yellow, they will ripen into a beautiful red, ripe tomato. Okay, that's not good. Anyway, that's that. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it. So the pepper is also a dipot because it comes up 2 seeds and makes a plant. This one, okay, this one is weird. It's one of my favorite cedar elms. And this is a, huh? Okay.
Why does this, the bark fall off? Because we have cedar elms.
I know, that's what I want to show you.
Up in the building.
Okay, so let's pull some of these leaves off. I want to show you the corkiness on this stem. I have not determined or put enough effort into figuring out why it does this. And so, see that cork on the side of there? Now, if you broke that off there, don't pass it around. And anybody that's allergic to cedar, it's not a true cedar like a cedar tree. It's an elm. But if you have any question about,
This is cedar elm, it's got a name because it grows, and you're cedar because it's beautiful.
right. So it's not a true cedar.
Oh, this is an
It's
elm.
an elm. Yes.
But
And-
they're hardy trees, they survive the winter.
Yes, this is that. If it grows slow, then it falls slow because it's a hard wood. Get that?
What do you mean by fall slow? What does that? mean?
Well, okay, so let's say you get a China berry. Okay,
Right?
that thing pops up and it is growing fast.
Because with a chainsaw, all of them fall fast.
Well, yeah, and a chainsaw all up. No, actually they don't. We had to cut down our mulberry, our Pakistani mulberry over at the rose bed because it had cracked in half in our big storm. And the young man said, "Oh, I'll take that down in no time." That wood was so hard, I thought he was gonna burn out the chainsaw. So the you know, the xylem is up, the phloem is down, correct? So, and you look inside of the rings in there, how they go, well, you look at the rings inside of a Pakistani mulberry, and they are close. Really, really, the structure in there is very, very close. So it is hard wood, which makes great for making flooring and furniture and mulberries. Golly, it makes beautiful mulberries. But the wood is really hard. You go out there and you cut down a China berry and you put the salt to it and it falls over. It's like, I give, I give. It's a very soft wood. So that's,
So it's got tight rings. so-
it's got tight rings,
Yeah.
yes. And that's just kind of a little saying in the, when you're trying to teach people about trees, that the fast growing trees are going to be short lived. They have anywhere from 15 to 20-year lifespan. Whereas live oak or a cedar elm can grow anywhere from, 50 to 150 years or less or more, either way. So that's that hardwood versus the softwood trees. They grow but really fast, give you great shade, but then boom, they're gone. Like, man. Oh, crepe myrtles, crappy myrtles. So I went down Cimarron and like, oh, look, there's a good Mexican food place. We're gonna go in there and eat. Me and my friend went in there and eat, and we parked the car. I thought I was gonna have a heart attack.
The flag.
The oak trees, they cut the oak trees back. Yeah, I just don't even know how to explain that, but branches that big around, and so they're just like all these stubs. Now yes, well, wrong plant, wrong place. There's all these highline wires there. They're on the corner. They put too many trees in. And so the same thing with crepe myrtles. It's crepe murder to put in a crepe myrtle that is going to get too big for the area. It's going to get too tall. And, I'll just keep it cut back. Well, you keep cutting it back to keep it to a certain size, you're going to expose it to insects and diseases and so forth, when it would be smarter to find the right size growing crepe myrtle and put that in. Because you've got miniatures, you've got dwarfs that get 6 to 8, and semi-dwarfs, which are 8 to 12. And then the Native American named varieties like Natchez, Tuscarora, Basham, big. They will grow 6 to 8 foot per year. They grow about 30 foot. And there is a debate about whether a crepe myrtle is actually a tree or if it's a shrub. And my answer on that is, I don't care. It grows big, it lasts long, and it's beautiful. So it's kind of like, is a palm a tree? No. Is it used as a tree, as a form of shade? Yes. So that's your wording in there. And to be aware of that, when someone is talking to you, then you can understand them better. Maybe not correct them, because that does not fare well to have a student, unless you're that kind of teacher. But to be able to understand what we're saying. How do you describe a crepe myrtle? How do you describe, other than the botanical Latin name? And I had a top to it somewhere that's got the seed pod. This one is a Natchez. Natchez is white. It grows fast. Oh my gosh. And it reseeds very quickly.
So it's invasive.
Can be, but it's Natchez crepe myrtle. So if you want to dig it up and move it, you can, but make sure to cut that top out, just tip it a little bit. Where's my seeds to the,
Carol, where are crepe myrtles from?
India? Okay. I want to say if I remember correctly, they're from India. Oh, okay. Stop. I get very excited about it. So I went through the bromeliad house. We'll go there because it's unique and extremely unusual. I have a seed pod here somewhere, but it's the seed pod for this particular flower. And this is the leaf that goes on there. And after you're done working with them, you're going, man, that's kind of itchy. And then you get home and you take a shower and you're like, oh, did I herd cats today? I mean, you got stickers, cuts everywhere. It's a serrated edge on there. So they're beautiful, but they're mean. So not my favorite. Look, and these they turn brown and they turn into a seed pod. How do you germinate a bromeliad? I don't know. Y'all do it and tell me. How about that? I know I'm getting a little anxious because I'm running out of time.
One of our master gardeners has a special deal with it. She's currently caring for a newborn. So she'll be back in action.
Oh, I tell you what, now I understand, here's the seed pod. Okay, I understand that there are very few opportunities at the botanical gardens to get your master gardener out. I understand that. But doesn't mean you can't come out here and work. I got people, like I say, I got the butcher from Beeville, HEB, that comes out here twice a week and he loves it. And what's your benefit? Not necessarily just to get hours, but to learn. There are so many people out here that know so much about plants and are willing to share that. George is from Costa Rica. No, Puerto Rico. Yeah. And he is our orchid curator. And he's here, like I say, Monday and Friday. Y'all come and work with him and you will walk away with orchids and so much knowledge. Your head's gonna feel like it explodes. So it's just, I mean, you come out here, you pull weeds. You pull weeds and you're talking to somebody and find out what the name of that weed is. And you know that you've got it in your yard and you know when the blooming season is, then you can make sure to cut that bloom head off before it goes to seed. And so you stop that generation of weeds in there. So that's just some of your opportunities. This is a sugarberry, spiny hackberry. It has spines on there, as the name says, but that little berry in there is delicious. Oh my gosh. It's got two big giant seeds and it's a really small berry. And it tastes kind of like cantaloupes. There's the seed right there. I mean, the berry.
Can you put them in a blender?
Probably, you know what? Watermelon, I throw watermelon seeds and all in a blender. And I think, you get kind of fiber.
Most people boil and strain them.
Boil and strain them and make a jelly. I just walk around and eat them. So, me and the deer and the javelina. I wanted to show y'all. Yeah, isn't it gorgeous? Telling you what, it's a booger keeping those caterpillars off. So if y'all have these and you have caterpillars, you have more caterpillars than you have plants, bring them up here in a plastic cup. We have, Beth, will you go into that back room there, pick up one of those butterfly habitats and bring it in here? You can bring us the caterpillars. We will hatch them out and cook them into our butterfly house. Because I know everybody was freaking out because they had monarchs and they had no food for it. We had food. And so, but we couldn't sell our food. We could take your caterpillars and.
You still need them?
Huh?
You still need them? More monarch caterpillars?
Yes, always.
I could
Oh.
bring you, well, the other day I could have brought you.
You and my little Vanna White here.
Okay, so watch it, there you go, look at this, okay, so sitting right here.
And these are black swallowtails because they are on gills. Black swallowtails are a rare generalist among butterflies. They will eat anything in the parsley, carrot, dill, celery, celery.
So I've got my butterfly lady, she comes out and checks my sales plants every day for caterpillars because nobody wants to buy it in that plant. We have lots of,
Real close.
can you get it up close
Look
there?
at the screen, Doc.
Here, let's see. Yeah, unzip. Let's see. Let's pull him off of there. Come here, baby. You smell them?
Oh,
They're
yeah.
getting freaked out. All
When they
right.
get upset,
Here you
they
go.
make a smell like apples.
Can you see it?
I don't know whether to go
Hang
up,
on, come on,
down,
come on,
left
come
or right.
There you go.
Tap his head. They put out their scent
Yep.
glands when you tap
Why
them.
is it? Okay, show it here. Let's see this.
And he's.
Oh, move that. Move that over. Oh, man, he pooped on me.
And we will learn on the insect
A little
section
more.
that insect
Move it over to the other side.
poop is called frass.
Poop is called frass.
And the only insects.
I'm
that
gonna make
this
y'all
poop
poop. Oh, y'all
Are the
puke over there.
herbivores.
Can you see it?
Come on. Oh, he didn't do it.
No, they're happy. They're too happy. Can y'all see them?
They have,
Okay.
for
There you go.
swallowtail caterpillars, they have two scent glands near their head that will come out when they're disturbed.
If we can make him mad.
And what is that?
This is a black swallowtail caterpillar.
Y'all seen the black butterflies that fly around with the blue all there?
Some people call them parsley worms.
He's like, can I go back to a nap now? Y'all are, I was eating and then I was napping.
Little guy fell down. I'll put him back up in the-
They usually make
This
them.
particular method for raising caterpillars is called the vase method. I find it very effective because it keeps the leaves fresh. So you're not have to replace the leaves as often, but when you do it, make sure you have enough food to seal the top of the vase, otherwise they will drown in the water.
And he's like, yeah, I know, right? There's some big ones in there. So let's say you've got your broccoli and it's got aphids on it, or you've got your parsley and you're gonna throw it in with, to make your, what do you make with basil? Pesto.
Pesto.
And oops, it was a caterpillar in there.
Protein.
Protein. I know, I hope I don't want to make anybody throw up. Okay, it is.
We don't have many, we have one venomous caterpillar in the area. We don't have any
Oh my gosh. Here's one that's
poisonous
gonna
ones that
get
I'm
me.
aware of.
This one is beautiful. Holy moly, he is mad. Look at him. I was doing it. Look, I don't know what the different colors mean. Doesn't it look
The
like
color-
velvet?
The colors just vary.
Can y'all see it?
For rare butterflies, we're aware of the monarch. We don't really
is.
know the population of a lot of them.
No.
And that goes for all insects as a whole, by the way. We know that they're all experiencing habitat loss. We know that most insects are specialists. 80% of insects are specialists. That means if they don't get the plants they want to eat, they will die. It's not a case of, oh, I don't like that, so I'll eat something else. They just can't eat something else. Where was I going with that? She said she has the squirrel problem. Guess what? When we met, we were like, "Boop, boop, 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 boop." When her best friend met me, she was like, oh God, there's two of them.
I mean, he's got
Um,
orangey colors. Yeah, there's some really large ones in there. So this is what we would do. Look at how orange that is.
Oh, it's important to raise rare butterflies in captivity if you see them in your garden and not just leave them to grow naturally, because they are in decline and you will have an 80% survival rate if you rear them artificially. You will have some that won't pupate properly. They'll have a disease that you don't see. They will have
They have OE.
They will have some that didn't get proper nutrition before they went into pupa because they just got the urge to pupate early. But 80% of them will be successful. And you shouldn't kick yourself for that one or two that come out weird and can't fly or never come out of pupa.
And this one is going into metamorphosis so that it's in that stage where it's getting ready to be a
Oh, and
butterfly.
these guys have active pupils too, so it's kind of interesting. They'll like
So
switch and stuff.
the benefit of coming to help with our butterfly expert is, got it?
But in
They
the
can teach you to identify OE. There's a way to do that. Got it?
But in the wild, they have a good chance of getting eaten by spiders, birds, etc.
Yeah. You know. struggle of life. You were, okay, good. I know my nephew is 19 now and he goes, hey, girl. It's like, yeah. So we looked at seeds, tendrils. That's what I wanted to show y'all on here. Okay, so it is noon, so I'm gonna wrap this up real quick. And pass it around. Look at the tendrils, the way that. And then I've got, oh, this is a lemon cucumber that somebody dumped into our compost pile back there. And oh my God. What? You just impressed with my blades, aren't you? I can tell.
Actually, mine, you have one of those that there's 6 different species.
Pass that around and smell it. Those seeds are really nice and,
Okay, so are these edible?
yes, oh yeah, they're cucumbers. Okay, so these are cucumbers, but they have a lemon taste to them. They got a nice, sweet lemony taste to them. So you can make them into pickles, that kind of thing.
Our neighbors
You're beyond me on that. I have a maple.
Beautiful. This is okra seeds. Very, very easy to grow okra seeds. And you get a ton of them. Now, this one happens to be that, the red one. Can't think of the name of it, but yeah, harvest them when they're about that big, and then you can pop them off the plant and eat them, right there, right there. You can roll them in panko and bake them, and they're delicious like that, so. Bacon and onions. This is a cypress vine. I just bought this so that y'all could look at the different leaf sets on there. So that's to show you the leaves on that one. And one more leaf is the sea oats. This is a grass, and these are, there you go. These are the seeds. So each one of these that breaks off of there, like so, and flies in the wind. Most of those, you get about an 80%.
you have like some like sticky vine wrapped around something. It
Yeah,
smells really bad. Dude, what is it?
it smells bad. That's, okay.
I didn't smell yours, but it looked like the one that we're getting in our yard.
That's a possum grape.
Ours
Right.
doesn't, no, ours doesn't have the heat on it.
Well, not yet. It's working on it.
But it smells pretty, is that like a horrible?
Yeah, kind of stinky. Yeah.
We can't get
Okay, so
over everything.
I don't use perfumes because it bothers my allergies. But you show me a big pile of manure or mulch, man, that smells beautiful. So my sister and my daughter do not get it. Here's another, okay. This is a native summer poinsettia, okay? Summer poinsettia. Poinsettia flowers, what we call flowers, are actually bracts or leaves. See how they're turning red on there? The flower is actually the little yellows that come out of the top that you don't really want. And so you keep those pinched out until after Christmas. But this is a wonderful plant for hummingbirds. We use that in our hummingbird garden.
It shows how flowers evolve from leaves, kind of like an intermediate plant.
Does it work?
Little flowers is out of in the center. And it's just a section
Yeah,
where
oh,
they-
that's beautiful. There's a lot of different passion flowers out there.
How do you promulgate these, Carol?
How do you propagate those? You can take leaf cuttings, and make sure to take the stems off where the nodes are, NODES, so that, like on this one here, you would take, and this is a pink Malvaviscus, and you would strip those leaves off, right? Cut it at the bottom, so you get a nice straight cut. Let's pretend this is soil. Can y'all pretend that? Okay. You take that and you pinch the top out. You pinch that very center out so that it releases a hormone that says grow.
Covers the
You
fence.
stick it all the way to the ground.
able to
Take
promulgate.
a pencil and make the hole. Don't use the stem to make the hole. Just stick it down in there, put a Ziploc baggie over it with a rubber band, and this one will take 6 to 8 weeks to root. Same thing on that passion vine. Now, it also makes a seed pod, which are really good to eat. So if your animals eat the seed pods and poop it out, then you're gonna get passion vines. And so that's how that works. This one is beauty berry, something Americana. Anyway, this one is wonderful for cardinals. Cardinals love this. And these berries on here are really nice and purple. Yes, oh, there's a painting of it in the back there. A hand drawn. I wanted to show you the stems, the different stems that you'll run into. This one is a coleus. And if you notice, it's hollow and it is like a square or a triangle. And so that's in the mint family.
There are a few outliers in the snapdragon family that also have square.
They have square, okay.
But mint and snapdragon are.
So as you're looking at the different stems of the different plants, you'll notice that some of them are very similar. This is our beautiful sunflower. It was beautiful yesterday. And that is teletropic in that it turns to move to the sun all the way around.
Beautiful.
And
Oh, keep going.
okay, okay. And then this is the seed pod. And so you take, you take those and you can break them and spread them out so, or you can put them in a paper, an envelope, and make sure to label them. When I first came to work here about 9 years ago, every drawer, every pencil cup had a package of seeds of some type that somebody had saved, and none of them was marked. I had a red poinciana that sprouted out that was way cool, but you think at the time, oh, I'm gonna do that later. It's like, that didn't happen. Later never comes, right? And then y'all felt the cedar elm's leaf, how sandpapery it is, so that it makes it not digestible. And then, okay, Calancho alligator plant. Way cool. Look at the propagation technique on this one. It grows up, mother of thousands, billions, almost done. Look on that tip. That's mother of millions.
Oh yeah, my mom can.
Yeah, I know, it comes up like everywhere. Yeah, of course it has.
It now has its own, Minas with a P.
What's that? Oh, okay.
Both cilantro and really problematic after.
So there you go. It starts, you can get it from pups. You can propagate it from pups, or you can propagate it from the little babies that come across the top of there. Now, be warned, once you get it in your yard, it is very difficult to get rid of. Okay, Telesandra, mother-in-law's tears is that little brown cover that gets in everything and just is hard to dig up, but it is also edible. or know how, you're gonna need, I'm not telling you just go out there and eat it out of the ground, you gotta figure out. Some of the stuff needs to be cooked first, and, yeah, don't take cooking tips from Carol, so. Oh, and this is, I wanted to show y'all, yeah. Big old freaking thorns on there. I don't know why they let you go in the garden. They should kick you out a long time ago. With them always at the back. Anyway, me and the planner having a conversation. This is in opera. Succulent. Yeah, succulent. And you know what? It's true, because you're standing there, you're taking care of your garden and you're talking to them and it's all beautiful. And then you get distracted. Right? Something happens, you get a new dog, you get a new puppy, you get a new friend. And so if your presence is no longer there. And depending on the type of garden, it shows the effects of that. I'm not gonna pass this around because it is mean. And so it's having a timeout up here. Yeah, big timeout. This is more of that, oh, maybe. You're just gonna be difficult, aren't you? Nope, still not there. But I can feel the nodes of the seeds in there. And it's not gonna show it to me, but that's okay. That's that, it grows in cemeteries. It's a cemetery plant. I guess not everybody has family cemeteries, right? No, how many people here have a family cemetery? You go there, you take care of it, you mow it, you have a big picnic, everybody brings pies and you eat it all. So it must be a southern thing. But anyway, as you go to those places and you mix with friends and people and family, they say, oh, I got this plant. And it's a pass along plant. So it's a cemetery plant because that's where they grow. Because nobody takes care of the cemeteries except for once or twice a year in the old family ones. And so if it grows there with no attention for twice a year, it's a good plant. Okay, I think that's it. I mean, I could go on forever, but that's not what we're going to do today. So any questions?
Thank you.
Yeah, look at that. I answered every question. No, yeah.